We are going to have the next panel discussion here that is on community-led climate solutions. And I also thank you all for the energy and enthusiasm and your attention that you have given to this platform, to the discussions happening here. And also the way you have been talking and collaborating, discussing your initiatives, your thoughts outside these halls. So this is the entire purpose of this event, that we bring together collaborators, we bring together stakeholders, those working in social sector, those working in environment, or those working for the cause of sustainability and climate. So they should be part of this event. They should join, they should talk, discuss, deliberate, and then collaborate. And nowhere the CSR is there then, right? So our work ends once we make you gather at such platforms. That is it. So taking forward this thought process and to the next panel, which is going to be very insightful, because this is the one panel which is very close to, I think, more than 90% of the stakeholders sitting here, is community-led solutions, community-led climate solutions, local action for global impact. I have a few case studies already ready with me, on which I can talk, which I have very closely seen and observed. We have somebody coming from Jharkhand, and she has been working very extensively on those activities. Probably she will be explaining it also later tomorrow. But we have so many case studies. It has been very inspiring to see and being at the center, wherein everybody is coming, talking to us, expressing their opinion. It is kind of privilege for all my team members and the CSR universe to see these activities happening very closely. Going forward, we'll continue doing that. We'll continue bringing stakeholders together to discuss, deliberate, voice their opinion through our platform. We have a magazine which is coming every 2 months now. We have these two events. One is this CASCA, another is SAICA, which is Social Impact Conference and Awards, that is going to happen on September 12th. The venue is same. We have already arranged for it. Going to be bigger because that is this is the 5th edition that is going to be on September 12th this year. I think जितना आप इन्जॉय कर रहे हैं उससे ज़्यादा हम भी इन्जॉय कर रहे हैं इस चीज़ को, क्योंकि आप लोगों को यहाँ तक लाने में, आप लोगों को यहाँ बिठाने में और आप लोगों को एक दूसरे से बात कराने में, दैट इज़ द पर्पस विथ विच वी आर वर्किंग, एंड आई बिलीव विल कंटिन्यू टू वर्क टुवर्ड्स दैट. सो नॉट वेस्टिंग मच ऑफ टाइम ऑफ योर्स टाइम, we have our next panel wherein I would like to welcome first Miss Neeraja Nitin, who is from Transform Rural India. Yeah, I have. We have Mr. Sathya Natrajan. He was the first one to come to this venue this early morning. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for being a big support here. He's lead volunteer at Adar Poonawalla Clean City Initiative and CEO of Climate Troopers Foundation. We have Miss Bandana Rai. Welcome, ma'am. Bandana Rai is the Deputy Director, Livelihoods at American India Foundation. We also welcome Ms. Shohini Dutta, who is the Chief Philanthropy Officer at Bajaj Foundation. We have Mr. Manas Raghuvanshi, Director of CSR, BN Welfare Foundation. And we also have Dr. Neepa Saha Sharma, who is the General Manager CSR at CESC Limited. The session is going to be moderated by our editor, Ms. Ruchika Kumar. And thank you all the speakers for gracing this occasion.
Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you again for your patience and support. This panel is very, very close to my heart because earlier I was talking about how intertwined social justice is with any form of development or any form of crisis also. And climate crisis is actually a very big human crisis. So as we gather here today to talk about climate change, a crisis that is both global and deeply personal, it's important to remember that some of the most transformative solutions are not being born in boardrooms or government offices only, but also in the fields, forests, coastlines, and communities most affected by it. I have this example where in the village of Piplantri in Rajasthan, for every girl born, villagers plant 111 trees. It's a beautiful tradition that has not only empowered women but also revived ecosystems. And similarly, in Tamil Nadu, coastal communities have banded together to restore mangroves, protecting both their livelihoods and biodiversity. And these are not isolated stories, they are living proof that real change takes root at the grassroots. And we also know that climate change disproportionately affects vulnerable and marginalized communities, those who have contributed the least to the crisis. Like मैंने पहले बोला था कि बर्बाद हम करते हैं, नष्ट हम करते हैं, भुगतते वो हैं. When these communities lead climate action, it's not just about cutting emissions or restoring ecosystem. It becomes a powerful act of justice. It is about equity, it's about restoration of balance, of voice, and of agency. And when we support that leadership, we move closer to a more inclusive and resilient future for all. And today's panel, Community-Led Climate Solutions, Local Action for Global Impact, is about spotlighting that power. We will explore how communities armed with their traditional knowledge, innovation, and sheer will are not just victims of climate change, but leaders in the fight against it. And we'll hear from some incredible organizations and speakers that are not just supporting these efforts, but learning from them, amplifying them, and helping them scale. So let's dive into a conversation that connects local stories to global goals, because when communities lead, the world follows. So thank you all for joining us today for what I'm sure will be a deeply inspiring and thought-provoking conversation. To get us started, I'd like to invite each of our panelists to first of all, share a glimpse of their work and maybe a standout community-led initiative that your organization has amplified, supported, and what factors made it so successful. So we'd like to start with Sathya ji. Okay, so we'd like to start with Neeraja ji, please. I would request the audience to please take the seats in the center or on my left, on your right. So that because the visibility factor, because of the visibility factor. Thank you so much. Could we please have the door shut? Ayati, could you please shut the door for me? Thank you. So here we are looking for stories of innovation. And in the earlier panel discussion, which had actually set the tone for this, the one we had on waste management and circular economy, I got to learn that the sense of ownership among communities is the driving force, the key force to bring about this transformational change. So I'd like to hear from Neeraja ji.
So thank you so much, first of all, for inviting me here. I work as the climate lead at Transform Rural India Foundation. We are based out of Delhi, and our core areas of operation are MP, Chhattisgarh, UP, and Jharkhand. And we have 3 core practices. So one of them is community action labs, where we actually co-design solutions with the communities. And once we try, test, and pilot that, and then we have another practice called public policy in action, where we have nudge units at district level, state level, as well as the national level ministries. So these learnings can feed into policies and then scaled up. So this is how typically we work. And we have a third practice where we which is called Bending Markets for Flourishing Localities, where we bring in market players and their investments, and not just investments, non-financial investments also, into the rural areas. Now, coming to the experiences, so I would like to take 2-3 examples in the climate space specifically, because as we speak, sitting here, there is heat wave, alerts going out, and people are literally suffering. So, there are certain coping mechanisms that communities do themselves, but with government support, there are a lot of different things that can be done. So one of the examples is around water. Water stress is extremely difficult to deal with, especially during this heat stress. So through Narega, unlocking public funds, Narega mein, obviously there are so many, climate-related infrastructures created, but they're more sporadic and, they're like salt and pepper. लैंडस्केप को देख के या वहाँ का एरिया को देख के कम्युनिटी के नीड्स को देख के नहीं किया जाता सो वन ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट हैपेंड वाज वी गेव GIS टेक्नोलॉजीज टू women specially and then what happened is because they started seeing the results because communities are the permanent residents over there no NGO no CSO is going to be able to no outsider is going to invest fully jitna ki wahan ke permanent residents so the panchayats the local administration and the communities together work out so this is one of our main drivers we call this locality compact so the permanent residents and because we are human beings jo hamara rational wo bhi hota hai ki unless and until there is a benefit and there is a connect to that place and things happening around us that ownership doesn't come. So that is what we try to trigger through our initiatives. Another example, do I have time or? Yeah, so another example in the climate space itself is connecting communities to the global carbon markets. So through large-scale orchard plantations, almost 1 lakh Didis have been connected to the carbon credit global markets, and they are doing large-scale plantations, and through that they are generating credits, and then through that they are earning additional income. So these are some community-led initiatives. So first, this plantation drive was done with the intent of additional income as well as respite from the heat stress, but then this translated into additional income by linkages to global carbon markets. So I will stop here. There are many stories, but yeah.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, first of all, and thank you for being so awake in the post-lunch session, so gratitude. We'll try to keep it as engaging and as lovely and storytelling as possible and not get our project designs and theories over here. So I come from American India Foundation, which since 2001 we have been working in India across all the states and union territories. And we work with the marginalized communities, especially women, persons with disability and children, across livelihoods, education and public health domains. Coming to sustainability, what we have learned is outcome has to be income. So if community has to own it up, if there has to be ownership coming in from community as per the previous sessions, learning, it has to be income focused. And that is what we do in anything that we do under livelihoods at AIF. So I'll talk about more stories in coming, in coming 1 hour. But for now, I mean, the main, the driver for our growth in livelihoods vertical especially has been the collaboration and income-focused approach. We have done more than 20 pilots so far in last 3-4 years under green livelihoods to create greenpreneurs and the green-collared employees across India again. What are those stories, what we learned and where we failed? I'll share all of that in coming hours. So over to you, Shohini.
Thank you, Bandana. I'm Shohini Dutta from the Bajaj Foundation. Our area of work is an intersection of e-waste awareness action, youth, and education. And what is amazing that we have seen in communities, especially, so we work with a lot of school children, which is a different community in itself. You have classes, you have sections, you have, chain-based schools, you have government schools. E-waste is not something that is very understood, especially we're working in places which are very, very remote. We're working in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Delhi NCR, Maharashtra, Goa. We see that when children actually understand what is electronic waste, and it's just not about the chemicals in it, but it's the consumption pattern. It is what they hear from their parents sometimes, ki, you know, हमेशा नई चीज़ की ज़रूरत नहीं है, इसे ठीक करो. Sometimes we become that voice that is also aiding what they are hearing from their parents. You know, we become the out of town expert with the briefcase for them. So we see a lot of uptake on not just recycling but reusing, of buying things which are refurbished, and that's what we are working on, is some way of habit creation, conscious habit creation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Manas Raghuvanshi, and I am from BN Welfare Foundation. Our foundation is fairly new, but in this very short span of time, we have stepped into the climate action space as well. So I'll take just one example right now from our community-led climate action. मथुरा में हमारा सरसों के तेल का उत्पादन होता है, वहाँ पर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग होती है, the parent company does it, और वो पूरा उद्यमी क्षेत्र है, साइड बी मथुरा. तो वहाँ के उद्यमियों के साथ मिलकर, द रिफाइनरी इंडस्ट्रीज एसोसिएशन, वहाँ की उनके साथ मिलकर, we have adopted all the parks in that area, and we are doing soil restoration and planting trees. और इस एक साल में ही हमने करीब 18,000 पेड़ों का आंकड़ा छू लिया है. और हमने ये देखा कि जिस तरह हमने उन उद्यमियों को जो बिजली जैसी समस्या से परेशान रहते थे, वो आगे आए और उन्होंने पेड़ों को गोद लेने तक की बात कही खुद से. So we went into their space, we encouraged them, we involved them, and I felt that giving them the power, giving them the ownership, that made them realize कि हाँ, we cannot be indifferent or ignorant anymore. We have to take these steps ourselves as well. So I'm sure we all must have celebrated World Earth Day just yesterday. So we also did that. We called up the volunteers from Delhi University and Indraprasth University and collected almost 5,000 kgs of waste from the Central Ridge Reserve Forest. So these community-led climate actions that we are taking, these might seem small, but we feel that they need to be consistent. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very good afternoon to my co-panelists. I represent a company called CESC Limited from Calcutta, and it is the oldest electrical utility in the country, founded in 1899. So we are a 136-year-old company, and our major business is the distribution and generation of power. We supply power to the city of Calcutta, to Howrah, and parts of North and South 24 Parganas. We have power plants in other parts of the country. We have distribution franchises in other part of the country, but CAC is less known in this part of the country. So, we have several, initiatives, and thanks CSRUnivers for having me here, inviting me and giving me this honor and privilege to speak to you. So, we have various initiatives, community-led initiatives, climate change initiatives across the companies. But I would like to talk about two initiatives here, though I was asked to speak about one only, but I take the liberty to talk about two because, I would like to talk about them because they're urban initiatives, which are more difficult to implement and are less in numbers. So, CAC, as I said, we are Calcutta-centric, and my co-panelists have also already talked about it, that any successful and sustainable, for any successful and sustainable climate change initiative or intervention, the community plays a critical role in this, unless the community owns it. And it is based on four, I would say the four pillars. One is community knowledge, community expectation, needs, and capacity. So unless it matches with the community priorities, needs, and capacity or knowledge, it won't work out. And we work on two parallels. There's a research and science behind whatever climate-led initiative, but there is an adaptation also. So the whatever we talk about climate adaptation depends a lot about community ownership of it. So I'll talk about two initiatives very briefly. So we have this, you've heard about Dakshineshwar temple in Calcutta, Kali Ma's temple. So yeah, so we have a basti or a slum there near the temple, and didn't have a good municipal waste system out there because it is an unauthorized colony. And and there was a huge dump yard next to it. So we adopted this slum, and we've started vermicomposting in that colony, involving the women there. So we've trained them, we've kind of sensitized them on segregation of waste into organic and inorganic, and we've also trained them into recycling their organic waste into vermicompost. And they're doing very well. We started this initiative in 2022, and they're packaging, they're making the compost, they're selling it in the market, and we've made 3 SHGs, we've registered them with NULM, with the municipality. The dump yard has vanished. The municipality took cognizance of this, and the dump yard is no more there. In fact, the slum was on an encroached land of NH, National Highways. They gave the land to the community for this project, and we've got a beautiful garden in that dump yard, and it's doing pretty well now. There's another project that we're doing. There's similar initiatives elsewhere in the country, but this was the first time we were doing it in the eastern India, eastern part of the country. So we've done a project on flower waste management. We've adopted a municipality which is close to Calcutta Airport, not Damdam municipality. It's Damdam Airport, if you have heard of it. So this is not Damdam municipality. So we've adopted the entire municipality, and the municipality has got a very unique system of collecting flower waste. Generally in Salt Lake, where I stay, or other parts of Calcutta, all the waste is collected together. But here they send a battery operated vehicle in the morning. There's a bhajan which plays, and then they collect flower waste from the households. So we wanted to do something, something on solid waste management. We are in a polluting industry, so we are always looking out for opportunities, to do something. So we found this municipality was collecting segregated flower waste, and we've adopted the entire of the flower waste. We've set up a unit there, and it's a PPP model. So the municipality gave the land, we gave the capex, we've got an implementing agency to give the know-how. SUDA does the funding of the operational cost through the municipality. So the flower waste, we've trained the SHG members who are already there with the municipality. We've trained them on segregation, sorting, drying, all that, and also processing into 3 products. One is floral powder, which is then converted into gulal and agarbatti. And then we have biocompost and biofertilizer. So this is we've generally done a B2B model, because a B2C model would be more complicated, marketing and all that. We've trained all of these people, and they started production. We'll scale up the production in this year or so, and they started production. They're earning. Both the projects are livelihood centric, and the community is seeing benefit in it, and that's the key thing. The community has to see value in what we do. So thank you so much.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sathya Natrajan. I think I'll try to address as much as possible if you can come in. So I used to work for 15 years in night shift and sleep for 5 hours. And all the time in the world is what I got to do social work with 60 plus NGOs. And I maintained it that way because I can do both my social life and my personal life. That's a brief. Then what do? Is I simply do volunteering. And then what's my portfolio? My portfolio is called as Cradle to Grave Volunteering. I've worked on projects which expectant mother portion se leke up till burning dead bodies of COVID. I have done it all. So this is the range of volunteering that I have done. So 15, 20 years before, I consciously made a decision talking to the then great people in the CSR and other fields, philanthropy and all, that I would never open an NGO. And I would work on the grassroots only. It's not to compare, but basically I chose that route because 4.5 lakhs NGOs exist in Maharashtra, 1.5 in Pune alone. So I work in the city of Pune alone. So that is my demographics. Now coming to the climate change, I would split it into different roles that I play as a volunteer. From Delhi perspective, I am the national coordinator for Climate Reality Project, which spreads advocacy on the climate change. That's one role. And then from the Pune Municipal Corporation and the government, I am the captain, Puneri Nayak, for Indian Swachhata League. How many of you know what is Indian Swachhata League? Any comments? This is nothing but IPL for Swachhata. 4,200 cities participate. And for example, Shankar Mahadevan is the captain for Navi Mumbai, I am for Pune. Then what I do? All the citizens put together is one community for me. I engage them in volunteering around Swachhata. Now, the next role is lead volunteer for Adar Poonawalla Clean City. As you might be knowing, it is a philanthropic arm of Serum Institute, which saved you during your COVID days. So we also want to keep the city clean, like how the nation clean. So we clean about 600 kilometers of road every day with a social perspective as well, to make sure the people who work for us have a dignified life and their work is respected with dignity, which means not the traditional broomstick. We give them the machines which suck the litter from the road, 600 kilometers every day. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about few instances around the waste management that involves community to take climate action and solutions. If Adar Poonawalla thought money can buy happiness and it can buy cleanliness of the city, he would have added another 200 crores to the kitty. That wasn't a problem. Money wasn't the problem. Sooner or later, he found that it needs different stakeholders' involvement to make it successful. And that's where we started doing the outreach, though it has been a philanthropic organization, Adar Poonawalla, where money is donated, right? But we need to engage different sections of the society. So that is when we said, like, we will do an outreach program to reach different sections of the society so that this clean city becomes a movement adopted by the communities and by the citizens. There are 3 short examples I would give you. One is a set of 10 lakh people walk all their way from Pune to Pandharpur. It is one of the 700 plus year old tradition. It's kind of a jatra, as you could talk in other places. So a 1 week litter, which you usually see on the street because of people giving them while they're going on their journey, it gets accumulated within 2 hours. That's one vertical. Second is that about 52 marathons happen in the city of Pune, other than the L-SOMs and the T-SOMs and so on, the marathons. And they are also a community which creates a lot of waste in small amount of time. I wouldn't say waste for the negative connotation of it, but it gets generated. And then the third one is that if you try to see all the forts of Maharashtra over the weekend, you will take 2.5 years. So there are youth being the crowd there, they go on treks. So these 3 different things, and one more we will talk about later. The program called Maiwari Swachhwari, which involved 10 lakh pilgrims who go from Pune to Pandharpur, the volunteers come once in a year and clean the road in 2 hours SLA, spick and span. Why? There is an inherent intent of the community to make things good, feel a part of the larger crowd, and that somebody is going to assure a success on them. These are the only 3 key things. If you are a facilitator to get those 3 things, the community owns. Initially, we used to conduct this as a yearly program. We took a break for 2 weeks in one of the years. All the gram panchayats and the corporations and the cantonments started banging on us, saying that, hey Sathya, why are you delayed? We told them, this is not my program, this is your program. Oh, is it so? Then we will start. So that is what the community reciprocates you when you make sure the community understands that they are built for success, there is somebody to help, and it's an easy win. Second one is that always community has that inherent potential to do greatness. It is just that we need to be a catalyst. That is the second role. So out of the 52 marathons, what we do is simple 3 tricks. It's an open trick. First, we go to all the organizers who want to do good, but they do not know how to do good, right? We go and say that the first marathon is on us. We will pick all the litter that gets thrown. Don't worry. It's a money saving. They are really, really happy people. And they say, please come. I was looking for you in my 7, janam. You have come now. So let's go. Second time we say like, sir, ma'am, we don't have all the resources to take all your kachada. Please give us only the dry kachada. Which means the segregation automatically happens in the back end. Don't make it as a conscious decision that people have to invest time and grind their minds, right? Make it easy. The third time we go to them and say like, we don't have enough resources to clean enough of the driveways that you have. Then comes the point, Sathya, you have cheated me. So we said, no, it is not that way. We'll make it easy for you. Then back it up with data. We show the data that 82% of your marathoniers are not record keepers. So you're actually boiling the ocean for 12% of the people. Then they say, oh, is it? And then they say like, okay, I will give it a try this time. And we place hydration station where somebody who is a runner will come, take a sip of water and keep it and go. So the waste doesn't get thrown everywhere and the plastic bottles doesn't get consumed more. That is how it is. Third community is basically the trekkers. And the trekkers would say like, hey, I want to do it on my own. I don't want any brand. I don't want your name to come. I don't want this and that. Because they want freewheeling discussions and engagements. So we said like, okay, you are anyway going to do a waste negative trek, which means you are going to not throw any litter and you're going to pick litter then come, right? It's a new way of marketing. And we say, here is the plug bag, here is the gloves, do and enjoy. That's it. These are the 3 different success programs where community who are already meant to do some great things, we amplify and be the catalyst.
That's actually, those are some very interesting ways of engaging the communities. And also the fact that Neeraja has also pointed out that incentives are very important. So I feel that all the organizations over here, all the speakers over here have already pointed out the fact that livelihood, empowering the communities is deeply interlinked and interconnected to climate action and community-led solutions to climate change. So I'd like to know from your end, all of you, what are the crucial enablers apart from incentives, and have you faced any challenges in terms of advocacy or raising awareness? If you could share some real-life examples with us, that'll be great. So we'll start with Neeraja again.
Hello? Yeah. So, in terms of enablers, I think one of the things that one of the panelists mentioned was knowledge. So, I would put it, if we are able to build capacities of the communities, which will also entail knowledge, awareness, things like that. The other part is providing them with, the relevant infrastructure and services that is needed for whatever it is that they aspire to do. So infrastructure and services and their availability is also quite crucial in that sense. So, and the third most important thing is shifting of norms. There are many norms. For example, the NGOs have been successfully able to coin this term Sarpanchpatism. And recently, what happens is, although a Mahila is elected as a Sarpanch of a village, of a Gram Panchayat, but what happens is de facto या जो जिस तरह से वो translate होता है, उनके husband आके सारे decisions ले लेते हैं. They actually go and attend trainings and government fully funds their trainings, which the woman is supposed to attend. इतने सारे trainings हुए हैं जो husbands attend करके आए हैं and government has spent crores of rupees on that. So इस तरह की चीज़ें are raised, and recently Supreme Court has also, taken this up very seriously, that NGOs will call out, and they should call out if certain practices like these are prevalent in, these geographies. So shifting of these norms is also quite important, and to be able to do that, there's agency building, there's constant engagement, and this is what, the self-help groups have been successfully able to do. The self-help groups are essentially, they were, now उनका जो सक्सेस है वो किस में मेजर किया जाता है कि कितना प्रॉफिट कमा रहे हैं, कुछ भी तो नहीं कमा रहे हैं, कर क्या रहे हैं सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स. दैट इज़ नॉट द इसेंस और द पर्पस ऑफ सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स. इट वाज मोबिलाइजेशन, बिल्डिंग दैट कलेक्टिव एजेंसी, एक दूसरे का सपोर्ट करना, हेल्पिंग अदर वुमेन टू कम आउट एंड बी वोकल अबाउट देयर नीड्स, एस्पिरेशंस, एंड बी एबल टू रियलाइज देयर एस्पिरेशंस. सो it is with this spirit that SSG movement actually started. But अच्छा, ग्राम पंचायत एंड ग्राम सभाज भी तो उसी तरीके का प्लेटफॉर्म है, बट देर इज़ अ डिफरेंस. हर महीने या हर हफ्ते SSG महिलाएं मिलती है, बट ग्राम सभा नहीं होती है. साल में मैंडेटरी 4 ग्राम सभा होनी चाहिए, उतनी भी नहीं होती है. सो अगेन इसमें जो है दे आर एबल टू, जो भी वो एस्पायर कर रहे हैं, दे आर एबल टू गेट आउट ऑफ दैट ग्रुप. Similarly, ग्राम सभा में वैसा नहीं होता है. There is a lot of power dynamics into play. Again, those norms have to be shifted. कि vulnerable communities को भी सुना जा रहा है. अच्छा, बस सुना नहीं. They are not just mere spectators or listeners. They are able to contribute, demand their needs, and actually be able to get them. So these are the kind of enablers I think that work, especially in the rural communities. And going forward, even when NGOs and NGOs play a role, a facilitative role, but ultimately it is the communities and the communities living in that locality who will be able to drive this change and in a sustainable manner. Going forward, जैसे बहुत सारा जो climate का focus है, it is more mainly urban centric. Rural population बहुत सारा migrate भी हो रहा है. So so we also have to rethink collectively कि what is the vision that we have going forward. Do we want all the rural population to move to urban areas, or do we want to create those opportunities locally? So if we are able to do that in a sustainable way, creating green jobs, green enterprises, things like that, in the locality that communities are living currently in, so that also is another kind of enabler. Yeah.
From your experience?
Yeah, sure. So I'll tell you a story, as promised. So this is a story of Ashok and Sunita. So Ashok is a farmer with disability in Gorakhpur, and we started this work almost a year back. So Ashok was working in a small, very, very micro nano farming land that he had. And then we came across, issue was that he was doing basic vegetables, no market for that in neighborhood, couple of it was taken in whatever price, no fair pricing. Half the year he's waiting for rains, he's waiting for other things. And that's where our multi-layer farming experts came into the picture. We helped them make the farmland, understand what is multi-layer farming. And as on today, both Ashok and Sunita, the couple and the child, are so happy because their income has increased some 4 to 5 times, almost after 1.5 years. The family has become a multi-income household now. So Sunita, who was just cooking for him and taking food for him to the farm, is now part of a value add-on, a value chain that is made out of the farm produce that comes. So things like turmeric, things like spinach, cauliflower, whatever can be converted from a perishable to increasing the non-perishability of these vegetables and making some value-added product. We have identified the close-by market likes the 5-star hotels, respectful market who are able to give a fair pricing to them. And the best part is that women being the enabler of the growth of rural economy. So this is a case wherein the household income has increased, farmers started earning more. Most of the farmers, they are deviating from farming and going to the urban neighborhood only because of the seasonality of the farming as a business. So this also addresses seasonality of the issue of the income. And so what I'm trying to say that any solution that we are talking about, be it about climate or any other social development solution, it has to be integrated. It has to be holistic. You can't just do multi-layer farming also and survive and be happy and come out of that multi-generational poverty. You have to integrate it with the value chain, and that is what we did. So out of the 20 pilots that we did, this was one of the successful. In coming rounds, I'll also speak about what didn't work and how we, took it to the next level. So that story for the next round.
Nice. So we work on very different topic, e-waste, and for us working with the community is, like I said, schools. And we started working in this 2 years ago, and it started with really this place where we were talking to a child, to actually amongst each other, and somebody said, so electronic waste is like my email, virtual hota hai. It is, yeah, it's an interesting POV, you don't think about it like that. And we were like, yeah, वो partly होता है पर वो ऐसे नहीं होता है वो. Then we were like, okay, let's go out and see baseline study type of thing. School में जाके देखते हैं, because we are a very big believer that by the time they come to college, too many distractions happen in life. But school is where you can really get them to understand, maybe even imbibe, even if they don't really take it on, but it becomes part of you. हम सबको वो स्कूल के कुछ कुछ चीज़ें याद है और रहती हैं, good, bad, ugly, but रहती हैं. So we went into this school, I won't name the school, very well, and we work in Delhi. They have an eco club, great infrastructure, superb. Principal was very confident. हमारे बच्चे, they know stuff. We go in and we do e-waste through a game. It's Antakshari. We say, ab A se shuru karte hain, and tell me how many electronic things you know. Because part of the electronic problem is it's invisible. People think of laptop, phone, 5 other items. 20 item ke baad, anybody stops. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So one of the things that we started doing, the reason of the story is I totally agree with knowledge, but it's also how do you make the knowledge stick? We get so much. It's such a big information era. We're overloaded with information. How do you make it stick? How to make it, whatever the messaging is, I think that is a very important factor. And we found different ways of making it stick for class 5, for class 9, for the teachers, for the principals, for the directors, but the information has to stick. So I think that is a key one, is to how to make things stick. The other thing that we saw in the last 2 years is children, it may look like they are bored and they didn't get it and they are like wanting to leave the room. But when we have been working in this for the last 2 years, this year, with the Delhi schools, just 30 of these schools were able to collect 1 ton e-waste from home. Nothing came from the schools. And 1 ton is 1,000, it's literally chargers, earphones, that's like in 250 grams ka hota hai ye. You imagine the collection. And it's not the collection is just a metric. Because they have to go home, they have to talk to their parent. कि मम्मी ये है. सबके घर में एक दराज है. We all have those guilty hidden, skeleton in our closets, electronic. Which, इतना महंगा था, अब कैसे फेंक दूँ? Or I have data, मैं कैसे फेंक दूँ? We'll give it to somebody. We all have these stories. But these children have been able to bring that, rescue that, and put it back into circularity. They understand circularity. So that, I think, has been superb. Is one, to making it stick, and then also make them champions, which is so true, because like you're saying, community has to own it. The children own it. And once the children own it, I think everybody who has children understand this, they're like a snapping turtle. Once they lock jaw, it is what it is. So, yeah.
So I feel I'll take 2-3 examples, the crucial enablers. First, I feel it's about giving tangible benefits to the beneficiaries or the underprivileged we are talking about. and at the same time holding them accountable also about those benefits. For instance, in Greater Noida, we explored some planting opportunities, and the farmers there, they resisted कि हमारे खेतों पे आप पेड़ क्यों लगाना चाहते हो उसके चारों तरफ या उधर. So with the help of an NGO, local NGO, we came up with the concept of made pe ped. What helped the farmers with that was there was a boundary created on their lands, first of all, कि उनकी मेड़ पर उनकी ज़मीन पर चारों तरफ पेड़ हो गए, and the trees that we planted, they were fruit giving trees, fruit bearing trees. So jamun, amla, which could be sold later. So we told them कि we are giving you these trees, we are going to plant them, we are going to take care of them for the first 6 months or a year or so, but after that they are your responsibility also. You are accountable, we are planting them, we are giving you an opportunity to earn your livelihoods by selling those fruits also. The initial investment, the initial work will be ours. So benefits plus accountability should go together, we felt there. Second, I think very crucial enabler is introducing these people to the latest innovations. हम वही खुरपी और उन्हीं चीज़ों से गुड़ाई करते रहें और ज़मीन खोदते रहें. We introduced them in our parks when we were creating urban forests or rural forests. We introduced them to the latest gadgets, the cultivator, the rotavator, जिससे उनका काम आसान हो गया. So the resistance decreases substantially. Now they are, of course you have to train them how to use it, but then eventually they grasp that very easily, very quickly. Third enabler, I feel we should work with the children. We should go towards, we know where the future is coming from, so we should educate. The third enabler has to be education and educating the children. Like for instance, in our Pathshala, what we are doing, we have a kitchen garden, and like Shohini ji was talking about in the schools and the classes, the curriculums. So all the students go to nature walks in their kindergarten. But what happens later? That is just part of their timetable. इस period में nature walk पे जाना है, biology class है तो लेके जाना है. That has to be inculcated in the children. That feeling of ownership towards plants, towards the nature, towards the environment. So those children, they are going to plant those saplings, they are going to take care of that palak ka patta जो उसमें से निकल कर आए, and own it and say कि हाँ ये मेरा achievement है, I have been able to grow this. In the same place we have also installed a solar power plant. So once again, educating them कि why are we not using the electricity that is coming from the board? Why are we installing this? So education has to go along with these benefits, giving them benefits or incentives or knowledge. Educate the children, bring them up to date about what is happening, and from there they will take it. We boast about building nation, and it's our children who are building nation. So.
Yeah, so I don't know, everything has been said, but a couple of points. So I feel that the enabling factors and the challenges are sort of overlapping, because if I talk about enablers, I was thinking of three enablers. One is the community, of course, because we are talking about community-led interventions, climate change. So the community needs to be empowered so that it can take benefit out of the community-led climate change interventions. And the community also has to see value in it. I mean, there has to be a match, their expectations and priorities, which I said in the first round, and what we intend to do. It's not something that, we decide and impose. It has to come up from there. Second is, it's an empowerment of the local government bodies. Now all the government schemes and everything is top down, So the local government bodies actually don't have that kind of flexibility, or they don't have that kind of, decentralized mandate. So decentralizing the climate governance, that is important for it to be contextual. Something which will work in one part or in one village will not work in other. So that decentralized climate governance and funding, that is one enabler. And the third, I think, is multi-stakeholder collaboration. So because, corporates will not, it involves a lot of risk, and there has to be a resource pooling. So the resource pooling and the risk sharing, for that a multi-stakeholder collaboration is important, where corporates are there, the government is there, and the community will also feel confident if they see that, there's private and public, entities involved. So that's there. 3 enablers. If I talk about challenges, so challenges again, if we can do decentralized governance, climate governance, but accountability. We know all, I come from West Bengal where we have 2 big scams now. One is the teacher scam. You must be reading in the newspapers. The entire place, my household area, not the locality where I stay, the council, West Bengal's education council office is there, so all the roads are blocked. I was finding it difficult to come to airport also yesterday. So that's one, and the other is a municipal scam. A lot of ghapla in the recruitment to municipalities. So, so there, a lot of political intervention, and politically everything is determined. It's true everywhere. But, getting accountability, setting accountability under those circumstances is something that has to be ensured for any successful intervention. Second is, we have various, we are, as a corporate also, other NGOs also, we create islands of excellence. So we create one good model here, one good model there. We need to scale them up. So first, we need to curate and validate good practices, good examples, and that's where accountability also comes into play. So unless we actually, take them to a scale, these will always remain, islands of excellence. Small homeopathic doses will never go up to the scale. So that's a challenge, yeah.
So the enablers part of it is that first, of course, CSR, how they deal with community, organizations, how they deal with communities are different. But from my experience, from a philanthropic side of things, when we view the community, we wanted to empower the community by its identity. That's the first key thing. If 10 college kids come together and say like, hey, we are one community of so-and-so club, we would like to do a cleanup drive, can you help me? We don't go through their background checks at all. We say like, you have identified yourselves, you are empowering yourselves, please come on board. That's the first thing we do. Somehow it works in our case, because I used to also head Amdocs CSR. There you have to go through a lot of compliances. So I'm not trying to make it equal for everything, but from a philanthropic angle. That's the first, acknowledging the community and its identity. Second thing is that SOP-driven culture, because they need to get a consistent message and what to expect. So we say like, hey, so-and-so place we are going to, on Sunday, we are going to clean with 50 volunteers. We say, okay, directly there is this address of CEO at adarpcleancity.com. That's it. He says, warm regards, matlab, everything will be done. That's it. So it's so easy, SOP-driven culture, and somebody will be there to help them out on that day. And the third thing is that when we are dealing with multiple ad hoc communities, right, we don't have all the privilege all the time to measure the impact. Sometimes we measure the impact, sometimes we don't measure the impact. But we can't be judgmental about the metrics. We can't say, itna kachra uthaya. Aisa nahi hai. It is just that you have to follow the process. Metric will be an outcome. That is what we have found success with the enablers. Because there are many people who used to fail first time, but then the second time they come and do a greater job. That is one. For example, in the area of biodiversity, I'm also the CEO of Climate Troopers Foundation, and I work only 4 days for that company in a month. And all the volunteers are basically interns. It's a different model, which means I don't get paid, they don't get paid, right? So, but they come in as a community to help. So in the area of biodiversity, give out options to the community. because the ultimate objective should be met. How you go through might be different. For example, we started saying that if all the bees in the world are dead, humanity will be lost in 3 years, right? It's a biodiversity concept, right? And naturally when we say, oh, itna mushkil hai kya? Okay, fine. Let's start building beehives. Nobody will come on the road because they will be worried about, look, mereko sting karte hai. I cannot keep it in my house. So what you need to propose is that, okay, you are interested in biodiversity, but here is the plan. There is a sister to bee, which is called butterfly. I'll help you do butterfly gardens. So why don't you do this? And they get involved and then they go and chart their own mechanisms. So give them the choices. And fourth and final enabler is that be home to everybody. Be home to everybody. Because there are people out of 52 weekends of volunteering that we conduct with communities, engaging community. There are people who come for only 1 day in a year. There are people who come for 52 weeks in a year. It depends on. But when they know there is a organization called Swachh Pune, Swachh Bharat, there is an organization called Adar, Poonawalla, Clean City, they can come in and go anytime without having to curtail themselves. So your brand becomes huge. With that brand, over a period of time, you can achieve success. That is how even the Indian Swachhata League, I'm not Shankar Mahadevan, I'm not a great singer, neither I have a popularity. But as individuals, we have built it over a period of 2 or 3 years. And now 1.25 lakh citizens engage for Swachhata program in Pune. So you need to have that patience and build your brand, and you should let others know that you are their home. Enablers are in this way, we feel it works for us.
So there are a few things that have been very common across the perspectives that I've heard. One is, ma'am just said that decentralization hona chahiye. There has to be an integrated approach when it comes to community engagement. You cannot leave them midway. It cannot be, the strategy cannot be in silos. Everything has to be integrated. Shohini said that it has to start at a very young age. Even Manas said the same thing, that they engage the children, and that giving them that sense of ownership. So I think here collective action is one of the key things to drive and amplify any kind of change. So this would be my last question to all the panelists. I want to know 2 things from you. First of all, what do you think the kind of collaborations are required from the perspective of an NGO or corporates or even individuals? And then I would like all of you to give 1 or 2 suggestions and recommendations, maybe for kind of policy intervention or any changes in policy, or even to your partners. So if you could share those recommendations and also share your viewpoints on the collaborative mechanisms. Thank you.
So in terms of collaboration, I think finance is a very key aspect, especially for the rural communities. And largely, if you see in the climate space, the finance is heavily reliant on public funds. So we need to come up with some alternative models. Like one of the things that we tried was the global carbon markets. But then there's another option of blended finance, where philanthropies invest in government efforts, and then government takes up those solutions and amplifies, so things like that. So there are couple of things in terms of how we can collaborate. One is, of course, public funds, unlocking public funds, where we can come and collaborate and see how we can actually build a narrative and advocate for that particular narrative. The second part is a typical private investment, which invests and seeks profit, and also the communities who are involved in that project also earn profit. So these are 2 typical things that usually happen. The shift that is happening already and needs to happen even more is 2 kind of financing options. One is catalytic financing, which, it acts, you don't invest. For example, there is a solar initiative that you're trying to drive, but you don't really, invest fully into the capex. It's just a catalytic fund for a pilot and all that. And then, that acts as a catalyst, builds a solution, and then that is taken up by the larger communities. And the other is scale up. So these are the kind of shifts that we need to have in terms of funding, and this is where we can collaborate. And there are three areas in which this can be utilized. One is, when we talk of system change, one is system experimentation, when you are trying something absolutely new to build for communities. The other part is system redesign, when you are, tweaking and adjusting, making adjustments to an existing system. And the third part is when you are scaling up and optimizing an already scaled up kind of system. So this is one area where we can come and collaborate. And there are several other areas that we can think of. Is there are many organizations, including private sectors, CSOs, and even the governments, who are coming up with a lot of technologies. But many of them are reinventing the wheel. One organization doesn't know what the other organization is doing. So what we can collectively do is try and bring that into the public forum, share these technologies with each other, and try to build an interoperable framework where there is an exchange that can happen. So for example, Rain Matter is attempting to do something similar. They're trying to connect various organizations, and they're trying to create this interoperable framework, although it's fairly new. But we need to collectively think of such solutions going forward. So in the interest of time, I'll stop here. If there's more time, then I'll talk about some more options.
So last question and the last story from me. So this is Sonia's story. Sonia is a girl from one of the most aspirational districts from the state of Haryana. So we met up with Sonia in April 2022. A pass out from the local government ITI in electrical trade. Did her apprenticeship because that was mandatory and the ITI had to provide her. But after that, 12 months she was sitting jobless. Why? Because there was no market for her for getting to a job. And if she was going for a job, either it was security concern being a girl, or she was not aligned, she could not speak in the interviews, the questions that were asked. So that is where our collaborative approach came in picture. So with ITI, we got into identifying the need of the community and the community to be supported with. Then we aligned, we were already having a collaboration with Hero Electric, the largest electric vehicle manufacturer in India. So they came up as a second stakeholder to train these 100 alumni from ITI, the government ITI, and trained them into electrical vehicle technology, Sonia being one of them. And apart from Sonia, there were 4 married women in that cohort of 100 candidates. Out of 100, 65 were immediately taken on job by Hero Electric. They got trained in their factory in Ludhiana, and including Sonia, 30 of them got actually promoted and moved to the Gurgaon corporate office. And since then, Sonia has already got 2 promotions, 80% raise in salary, and she is all excited. She is the hero of her community. Her sister-in-law has joined another program that we support with in terms of the market linkage support for the women tailors in the area. So what I'm trying to say here is collaboration is not a rocket science. It's just about connecting the dot. So here is government with the best of the state-of-art infrastructure. I mean, you go and see the infra of the ITIs. These are better than many of the private colleges. Then there are private players, there are corporates like Hero Electric and many others who have market linkage, who are very flexible in terms of how they want to invest their money, how they want to operate in this sector. And then there are CSOs and NGOs who know what works on ground and what doesn't work, who know how to connect all of it and bring all of it together. So I think collaboration and integration is the key here, be it in terms of the intervention that we do, or be it the players who get involved and who get engaged into bringing that change. So we are also working on, it's a takeaway for each one of you. We are working on, in fact, we've already started work with IIT for developing National Green Livelihood Academy, and we are open for collaboration with individuals, with the corporates, with philanthropies, with government, to bring it to a level wherein it becomes an innovation lab, a kind of a factory of green-collared employees and greenpreneurs in coming days. So we are open for the dialogue on that, and after that, me and my colleague Rajneesh is here, who heads our green livelihood vertical, so you can connect with us to take it forward.
Thanks. You're hearing from me for sure. So challenges, absolutely. Funding is one of the things that we need much more of. But money aside, I agree with what you said, that even if there was 200 more money, when money is not a problem, what is the problem? I feel changing mindset sometimes takes more than knowledge. When we work with e-waste, it's a very new sector. It's can't even be called a sector yet, it's a blip. People don't even see it as a problem, though it is the largest growing sector of waste. It's invisible. So just like air pollution, it'll hit us in 10 years and we'll be like panicking. And taking from the fact of reinventing wheels and not knowing that we're reinventing wheels, the challenge that we sometimes face is, why is it important? And sometimes it's not just the money you can make from recycling, because sometimes it's not scalable yet. The operations are not there yet. But it's that shift of going back, of actually telling people that, you know how your grandmother used to talk about स्टील के चीज़ में खाना लो, हर बारी नई चीज़ खरीदने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. So, thoughtful spending, all of those old, unfortunately, things that we thought, including, maybe not everybody here, but definitely me, the point of progress is being able to have more, or give your children what you didn't have. All of these things sometimes really have a big effect of the mindset of consumerism, of just consuming, ism kya, of yourself. That change is a lot of talk, it's a lot of in-depth chai pe charcha, unfortunately, so many of them. Because it's not a capacity building workshop you do. It's something that they have to adopt in their everyday process. It's not something that you have to do. You're actually, for the communities that we work in and anywhere, you are fighting every sale. You're fighting the temptation to buy in every Black Friday sale. You are fighting that temptation of every great deal that people are spending millions on to make you buy. And that, I feel, is that biggest challenge that I face, is to how to counteract that thought of करोड़ों का पैसा जिसमें लग रहा है, उस पे मैं कैसे बोलूँ, मैं कैसे समझाऊँ? Because it's not e-waste it's one topic, but it's that systemic, it is that systemic way we are. And that I find is the challenge. And what helps is when they hear it from all different places, when they hear it from communities, from schools, from parents, from workplaces. It's great that there are so many things that happen parallelly which are talking about the same thing. I wish, like Raintree is doing, but I wish there was a way of fusing the narratives into one. Because the narrative is one. How to make that happen, I honestly don't know. But if that narrative could have been one, then you're only saying, you know how parents, both parents say the same thing, and then बच्चा हार के बोलता है चलो यही है मेरी जिंदगी जब तक मैं revolt कर नहीं सकता. I genuinely wish all of us could come to that one topic, or like 3 key things जो हम सब बोल रहे हैं. That would affect so much change, I believe. Yeah. Thank you.
So about the collaborations part, I am very close to this particular topic because I feel I've been on both sides of the fence. Before joining as the head of CSR, I have worked as a volunteer in NGOs. I have taught underprivileged children. I have worked for the river Yamuna in Agra, and along with the municipal corporation also. So, especially after joining the CSR as a CSR head, I realized that collaborations are an integral part. You need to know the grassroots, the level of the needs that they have, and only a local NGO or a local volunteer will be able to guide you. Where, when we talk about money, having money might not be a problem, but spending money is a problem. There, you have to decide, you have to take a call, where do you want to invest? When going as a CSR into the thematic area or in a geographical space, you are in a dilemma. Already there are so many CSRs working. Why will I coexist with them? Why will I do co-branding with them? Or the other aspect, since somebody is already doing 1000 Anganwadis, why will I do 10 Anganwadis in the middle of that? So these collaborations give you that that idea, that enlightenment, and what step you should take. Of course, you have to take along all the government bodies. Getting recognized by the government bodies gives you a very positive motivation that I felt in the very first year, getting recognized by the Honorable Minister of UP because of our work in the Anganwadis. So collaborations with the local NGOs and the government agencies have been very beneficial to us till now, and I'd like to go ahead with that aspect only. Second, when we are talking about policies, I feel already there are many policies in place, individual segregated policies. You talk about it, there is a policy, be it related to Anganwadis, be it related to the environment, be the Ganga action plans, the Yamuna action plans, be the different environmental protocols. What the need is, like Neeraja ji was also saying, integrating them. We have to have a policy where there is a term we use in our universe, the goodness ego. All the CSRs, all the NGOs, all the volunteers doing good have to drop that goodness ego. Everybody is doing good, everybody is earning karma currency. So what we need to do is we have to come as a collaboration and maybe then talk to the government at higher levels and devise a policy which helps you in integrating and then amplifying whatever impact had been going on. Those 1000 plus 11 Anganwadis should seem together, because there are ample of NGOs and CSRs in our country, but still we see there is so much of scope of work to do. So this particular policy can be one of those if everybody is aligned with it. Also, second policy we see, it's about, once again coming back to the money point, it's about greenwashing. Many of the organizations doing that just for the sake of it, that has to be controlled, that there has to be a stop on it, or a regular monitoring and controlling those. So that's all I'll say. Thank you.
Yeah, so in terms of collaboration, I mean, I've already talked about multi-stakeholder collaboration earlier. So, collaboration between corporate sector, between the NGO sector, between the government, and each of us have our own unique strengths, and bringing them together can always amplify the impact. I would like to talk more about the suggestions, So, there are policies in place, but there is a need for policy shifts. As I talked about decentralized climate governance. So everything is mandated from the top. So that mandate has to be decentralized, localized, contextualized with the required empowerment also. And also, shifts in the central schemes like the Manrega and, NULM and all those things, so that whatever work is being carried, I mean, एक ही जगह में वो आपके वो ponds ka khudai ho raha hai, whether it's required, not required, but you have to give 100 days work. So those things, yeah. So, and there's a list of items, is an item list which you have to do out of that list only. So that also needs to be, innovated, reinvented. So that kind of policy flexibility is required. And whenever we talk about climate change, since this is climate change we're talking about, so we're only talking about MOEFF, Ministry of Environment and Forests. But why not? Climate risk assessment and adaptation is not, limited to MOEFF. It has to cut across all ministries, health, housing, water, everything. So every ministry, every policy pertaining to these areas should also have scope for climate risk assessment and adaptation in terms of food, in terms of water, housing, everything. So that's one. Second, and the third one is, empowering the communities. Ultimately, the community has to feel that, it is contribution to the degradation of the climate, and it is the savior from the climate degradation. So unless there is some sort of, incentive to the youths, some sort of, maybe a fellowship or something like that, some sort of, for youths to take action, the last mile thing will not happen. Execution will not happen. For corporates like us, we would, because whatever we do, generally if we do anything which will benefit the business, any environment thing, any carbon credit that we do, that is not CSR. That is not qualified as CSR. So those are separate buckets. So there has to be a policy change in terms of regulatory incentive for CSR and ESG initiatives. Why would corporate do something? So there has to be some incentive for us. Yes, that's about it. Thank you.
So I say policies are there enough and in tons and tons. So it's the lack of implementation is what I would ask. I would have been much more happy if my friend Manisha, she runs an organization called EcoExist. I want to tell her about this particular story, is that regarding the policy and the enforcement. So this is a program again in Pune where everybody will be knowing that we celebrate Ganesha festival like with pomp and fervor. So the latest addition to Ganesha is not blessing, it is plaster of Paris, right? Every Ganesha earlier used to be in the form of a clay, now it's in the form of POP. And it has its own merits and demerits. But the thing is that when we are proposing an alternate as a solution, we said like, okay, clay is a good one, let's do this. Then people started talking about, I'm talking about the different stakeholders' interest in that. Okay, a POP manufacturer would say like, no. And then a person would, who is a material scientist will say like, anyway mining clay, right? And an environmentalist would say like, anyway, you guys are kind of mixing things in the river. And then an anti-guy will come and says like, do you want to immerse your Ganesha in a polluted river? Right? So different thoughts comes for solving a single problem. Everybody's point of view might be right from their angle, no doubt about it, right? But you can't talk to all the stakeholders with only science. My request is that when science fails, the work for art begins. So use different forms of levers that you have to make it successful. So what we did was basically we showed a model where the complete clay was brought by the community and recycled, and it was given to the Murtikars that they can reduce 25% of their cost annual expenditure. So these were all proven. But only last loophole was that the different stakeholders who are currently doing plaster with a clay were in loggerheads. So then the corporation had to come and say that there is already an existing rule from the MPCB that we are going to stop POP from being immersed in the river. So it is not about the policy, it is about the effectiveness of execution is what I would keep it as a final demand.
Thank you so much. I think those are wonderful suggestions and recommendations, and the kind of work that all of you are doing, to change this, to transform this ecosystem for the betterment of every individual. And the fact that all of you agree that collective action is one of the key, which amplifies all the efforts, and an integrated approach where strategies are not in silos but looked at together, where we are, acting as catalysts of change and supporting the communities. I think those are wonderful insights and learnings. And unfortunately, we'll have to wrap this panel discussion. But I would like to speak with each one of you beyond this platform and continue the dialogue. And community-led actions isn't just a strategy. I think it's a necessity now. Thank you so much for your wonderful insights and your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruchika, for hosting this session. And now I would request all the guests, all the speakers, to stay back here. Ma'am, please. Can we have Ruchika? And can I invite Ashish from M3M Foundation? Yeah, Ashish. Can we have all the speakers felicitated one by one by Ruchika and Ashish ji? Yeah. Very exciting news that we also have got Her Excellency Dina Mikevancy, Ambassador of Lithuania in India, who is now going to address the audience in the next hall. So I would request all the delegates sitting here to please move to the next hall, wherein she's just going to start her address. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Ashish, please. Can we have a group? Yes. We want to promote this.
We're trying to revive.